Off to the races.
Woohoo!
We did it. High five. Air high five. Uh, awesome. Nicole here from It's Not Brand Surgery. And I've got Lauren here today. And I'm actually really excited about this chat because it's like, I think a lot of people hear human design and they're like, oh, it's too woo woo for me. But it's like, it's crazy. If you could explain for a minute, just like introduce yourself and explain like what is your human design chart? Like what the heck is it?
Cool. Happy to start there. So if you're new to me, my name is Lauren Armstrong, and I am a human design for business guide. I'll do a more, formal all of the things later, but that's who I am. And what human design is, it is how you are energetically wired to interact with the world around you. And so I know that sounds super woo for some people. So let me give you like the tangible, practical, like here's how you actually use it scenario. It's a self-assessment tool, but it's way deeper. So like Myers-Briggs, Enneagram, all of those like tests that you've taken, you are answering questions with your conscious mind, telling the test who you believe you are based on your experiences up to this point, right? That's your self-assessment. Human design says, okay, great. But who are you meant to be? Who are you designed to be? Who are you born to be? And are you living out that path? And here are some strategies or ways to do that a little bit easier instead of trying to be whatever you think you should be in order to score a certain thing on the assessment test. So that's how I love to describe it. It's like a little bit woo, a little bit practical, and there's like a bridge. Yeah, and human design is that bridge.
I mean, you figure it's like you figure out what your human design chart is based on stuff that's like you can't really fudge that. Like it's like it's your birth date, where you were born, what time. Like it's not this in-depth thing that, like you said, I never thought of it that way. That people will be like, oh well, hold on, let me think about this. I don't want to sound like a jerk when I answer this question, that kind of thing. So I never thought of it that way. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, you're using your 4% of your conscious mind because 96% of your actions are subconscious, like your behaviors, your beliefs, all of that good stuff. So it's like, okay, you're using 4% of your conscious brain to fill out an assessment tool that's going to tell you who you are based on your experiences. Okay, well, that's all great. And I have no problem with self-assessment tools. I've taken all of them. I'm obsessed with all of them. I think that they're all really helpful. But then if we add in another layer of like, okay, who are you born to be? And it's based on the time of your birth and the science of neutrinos and quantum physics and all of that good stuff. Like, okay, you're combining conscious, subconscious, and energy and saying, this is who you are. And it's all in a beautiful chart that looks kind of like a medical chart. So I will help you understand what the hell you're looking at today.
Yeah, there's a lot of information on it. A lot of information.
There is a lot of information. Yeah. And at the highest level, there are 5 types, just like in Enneagram, there are certain types. In Myers-Briggs, there are certain types. But there are over 2 billion configurations of human design. So like, just because you're the same type as someone doesn't mean that everything's going to be the same as that person. So it's very, very intricate detail.
Wow. That's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's cool though. So there's 5 different kinds, like the top level. What are those 5 different kinds?
Do you want me to share my screen now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Just walk you all through it.
We're sharing screen, tech guy.
Hey, tech guy.
Get
ready.
Tech guy. He's waiting in the wings.
I love it. I love it. Okay, here, let me share my screen. And this is honestly visual prompts for me more than it is for you because I can go down a rabbit hole for each of these types.
Oh God, so, I bet.
This is me. Like I just introduced myself. This is my human design chart. So if you're looking at this being like, what the heck? No. Hold, please. Like this tells you a lot of information about me if you know how to read one of these bad boys. And so I just kind of went through a little bit like how we're currently building our business, which is consciously, right?
This is
4%
awesome.
of our brain.
This is so on brand, Lauren. What are you talking about?
Oh,
look at this.
And then, so we spend 4% of our conscious minds doing this conscious work, which is like, money mindset courses or like, selecting our brand colors, for instance, because there might be a subconscious reason that we like the colors that we do, right? Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of subconscious reasons that play into that. And then at the core of everything is energy. So this human design is basically saying like, okay, if you're working on something or if you need to pivot or something quite isn't right, it's like, it's not your fault. Maybe you're not aligned with your human design, your energy, the way that things flow for you best. So this is what I like to look at as like your human design chart. So on the conscious side is these black, on the unconscious or subconscious side is this way. And then energy is the entire middle part of it. It's like how you're energetically wired. So at the highest level, there are 5 types. So this is like, I'm just going to skip to the types and we can come back to this if we want to. So like, how are we marketing our offer? We can talk about that as far as like human design goes, right?
Yeah.
So human design, there are 5 different types. So there's projectors, generators, manifestors, manifesting generators, and reflectors. So if you are watching this and you know your type, I'd love to hear it, or you can DM me at _ Lauren E. Armstrong _ I'd love to know if you know your type, or if you're just finding it out for the first time and you're like, oh, I have a huge aha, please let me know. It's like my favorite thing when people get introduced for the first time.
Oh God, you will have an aha. I had one when I was talking to Lauren the first time I met her. I was like, you just explained me to a T. Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah. So the types are really around like, okay, how do you energetically interact with another person? And that's at the highest level. So projectors are here to be leaders and guides. We are here for the other, and we see the other person really deeply. In business terms, we're the advisors, is the word for it. And so we know that we're on track, or we're in alignment when we're feeling a deep sense of success. And we know that we're off track or out of alignment when we're feeling really bitter. So when we know like, oh, hey, I'm off track, I'm feeling really bitter, like that's just a signpost. It's like, okay, there's nothing wrong with this. Just get back to self. And there are ways to do that through human design with your strategies. I'm a projector, just for reference. So generators are here. They're the creatives.
Like, this is my husband, by the way. I looked him up before we did this. He's a generator.
100%. I pegged him as a generator.
Yeah. I'm interested to hear this because obviously we run a business together. So it's interesting to me to see how our two human design types work together. So continue. Sorry about that.
No, it's perfect. That's one of the amazing things about human design is because you expect everyone to act like you, or like to know what you think or how you feel, or like what to do in your business, especially. So it's like, okay, if we can recognize, okay, there are people that are other types and they have strengths that are different than ours, and we can leverage them. So generators are really like the people that are here to like get things done, but they're here to work on the things that they love. Like they're here to be lit up, and they radiate that into the world. So when they're on track, they're feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. And when they're off track, they're frustrated. Like I hear the word frustrated so often from generators and manifesting generators, because they have the same signposts of like being in a job or like creating a business that they didn't actually want to like be in the first place. Like they created this business because they wanted to make money, but like the thing that they're doing is actually not the thing that they want to be doing.
Yep.
Frustration.
Yep. That's him. Only if he really wants to do it. It's kind of like my son too, but I don't think my son is a generator, but they're both they have to really want to do it. So
yeah. And that's huge too, right? Because we have a lot of generators that are building businesses, and they have the energy to do the things that they don't want to do. But at the end of the day, like if you're doing a whole bunch of tasks you don't want to in your business, it's not about the 5 minutes that it takes you. It's about the energy suck those 5 minutes are. So it's just kind of a reframe or a different way to look at your business if you are a generator. And in human design terms, or for business, they're called builders. So they're here to create. They're, a lot of like people that are in the arts and stuff, like they're generators, like they generate creativity, like it comes out of them. So manifestors are forceful and impactful energies. You are here to initiate. You are here to get things started. Waiting is the death of you. This is Nicole, for anyone who doesn't know. And when you're on track, you're going to feel a deep sense of peace. Like everything is working out in your favor. Like the road is really clear in front of you. Like you know what to do next. Everyone's helping you in your mission. And when you're off track, you're going to feel really angry.
I just said, I'm just nodding over here.
And so again, like anger is not a bad thing. Frustration is not a bad thing. Bitterness is not a bad thing. It's a signpost. It's saying, okay, I'm really angry right now. Where am I not in alignment? Am I not following my strategy? Because if I followed my strategy, I'm going to get right back on track. I'm going to get to peace. And it becomes like almost something you're grateful for when you're angry. You're like, oh yes, thank God. Now I'm angry and I know how to fix it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Redirection. So a manifesting generator is a combination between those two types, the generator and the manifestor. So they are here to kind of be very unique in business. I would actually be surprised if you didn't have a lot of manifesting generators in your community, Nicole, because manifesting generators are multi-passionate, and it's very hard for them to say, like, the question, what do you do, usually comes off like a 3-paragraph answer of like, I'm a photographer and I'm a welder. And I also do this thing on the side and I host parties and like, I rearrange flowers for weddings. Like, you know, like, it's just like, I do all these things that I absolutely love to do because I'm not just going to pick one thing. Like, I'm not here to master something like a generator is. I'm not here to necessarily initiate everything like a manifestor. It's like this beautiful hybrid of those two types. They're here to live an existence that shows us that you don't have to fit in a box.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So on track is satisfied, off track is frustration, just like that generator or that builder. And you guys are called express builders in business terms. And then reflectors are only 1% of the population. But they are the mirrors. And so they take in everything in their environment and they mirror it back. And so when they're on track, they're feeling a really like sense of surprise and delight. And when they're off track, they're just like disappointed, and disappointed can be like in humanity, in their community, like, because their place is really important for a reflector because they're reflecting back the communities that they're a part of.
I feel like we're all a little disappointed in humanity right now. Let's be honest.
I know a couple of reflectors, and that's one of the reasons that I say that, because the reflectors I know are kind of disappointed in humanity.
We've all got a little reflector in us right now. Are they? So is that a new one? Because I don't think I've ever seen reflector before.
No, it's just so rare. Like, people don't usually talk about it a lot.
We don't talk about those people.
These kind of like off the cuff, like group things. It's like, there's one in the group, and I'm like, if you're a reflector, let me know. I love collecting reflectors.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of like what there's more of in the world.
Okay. Yeah. So 70% of the population is a combination of generators, manifesting generators. So like people who are here to do and create, like, think of that doing energy, that generator energy, like doing the things you love. Like that's very common in our society. Like, think about even school growing up, like you go from 9 until 3 or whatever. Like, a generator has consistent access to energy and can use it all day long. And that's kind of how society is built. So you guys are sacral beings, meaning you have defined sacral center. I know this is like a little stretch, just stay with me. But that's where you generate life force energy. So you have consistent access to it. And I love to use the analogy of a bathtub here. Like, when you're doing stuff you love, you're like turning on the faucet to a bathtub and you're having all of this juicy energy and water like flow into your bathtub. And the second you do something you don't love or like really frustrates you, you're pulling the drain of the bathtub and all of that juicy energy flows out. So generators are people who, like, generators and manifestation generators with that sacral center are people that need to like work out every day, or they can't sleep, or like, you know, do something movement or generate or excitement. Like, those are, we call them energy beings because they have that sacral center defined, which is where the energy comes from. It's where they generate it. Projectors are 20% of the population. Manifestors are 8% of the population. And reflectors are 1% of the population. And all three of those types do not have access to that sacral center, that energy generation nonstop for doing stuff they love. So we have an open or undefined sacral center. We take in the energy of the generators and manifesting generators around us, and we amplify it. So sometimes we can work even harder than the generators and manifesting generators in our life. But we have to recognize that energy is just not ours.
Do you think, is that the reason that when he gets an idea and doesn't act on it, I do? I'm like, hold on, let me do this for you.
Hold on.
I got you.
Probably. But also, you're a manifestor and you're here to get things started. So when an idea comes up and you're like, oh yeah, that's perfect. Like, let me just like whip it up real quick.
That's so me. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So I think that it's like really impactful. Like I love telling generators and manifesting generators about their types and how to leverage it and their strategies and all of that good stuff. I think it's so, so important because when we have generators and manifesting generators that are in alignment, you have those sacral centers that are lit up, and we around you that are non-energy beings can take that and amplify it. And it's good, juicy, fabulous energy. When you have a frustrated generator in your life, you're also picking that up and amplifying it.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Good
you're a
to know.
non-energy being.
Good to know.
Yeah. So it benefits everyone if the generator and manifesting generator is happy. But I love introducing human design to the non-energy beings, or I recently heard it called the awareness beings, which I like a little bit more because it's not that negative sounding.
Yeah.
So we're not here to do the projectors, the manifestors, and the reflectors. You're here more to be. Isn't that beautiful?
That's
and so
really
I really
cool.
love,
I like that.
Introducing this because we all are really conditioned with those open sacral centers to work hard, do, and we burn out and we're exhausted, or we have adrenal fatigue, or we're addicted to caffeine because we're trying to keep up, and it's not meant for us.
I feel that hard.
Naps are my best friend.
I miss naps for everyone, mostly my children taking naps. Yeah.
You're, as a manifestor, like in bursts. So like working for like 4 hours and like being super lit up about the thing that you're doing, and then being like, okay, yeah, no, I'm not going to work for like 16 or 22.
100%. Yeah. That took me a long time to get to that too, because I thought I always had to be going to like actually feel like I was doing something. So that's a new learning curve for me, honestly. Like,
which is so fun because that's like, this is the map. Like if you would have had this map of your human design.
Oh, it's all right. I've got it now. We're fine.
You have it now, but there are probably other pieces of your design that you have yet to learn. And so like you get to learn them now just by looking at your chart, which is so fun.
I love this. This is cool too for people to see, since it's been up for a while. If you know your human design chart, look at these and just honestly, I bet you your eyes are opening right now. Doors. Yes. So that's cool. Awesome. Yes. What did you have before that you said we needed to go back to though?
Oh, we didn't necessarily. I'm just like flying through. It's all good.
No, this is good.
I think that one of the things that we talked about, Nicole, was like, okay, enter pandemic.
Welcome.
Panic ensues. Like, okay, a lot of people are having to look at their businesses and be like, okay, what do I do now? And so what I love to talk about as far as like, what do I do now? There's a lot of experts, there's a lot of gurus that are telling people what to do right now, even though nobody knows what the hell they're doing.
So true. So true.
So what's really cool about human design, it's one of my favorite parts, is that it actually shows you how you can, I'm going to switch things because I have this in another one and I wanted to make sure that I shared it. So just hold my scroll. I know it's annoying. So
no, you're fine.
So we're really conditioned to make decisions based on our mind, on our conscious thoughts, right? Of like what other people are telling us to do and be like, okay, well, Susie did this and it really worked out for her. I don't know why everyone uses Susie as an example, but I
use Karen just because,
I love it. I love it. So she did that and it really worked out for her. And so now I'm going to follow in her footsteps and I'm going to do it the same way that she did. Well, a couple of things with that. Number one, if she's a different human design type for her and that works for her, great. Are you the same? Like, do you know that you're the same type? Like, there's so many different configurations. Like, what is her energetics behind that strategy, right?
Yeah.
And then two is you have within your body, within your energy, mapped out how you best make decisions for you. You have the energy inside of you to make the correct decision for yourself. So in your chart, I know that I sent kind of like a here's how to find it blurb.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at the piece that says authority, and then there's a little thing next to it that says what type you are, as far as like type, strategy, and authority. So Nicole, for example, what is your authority type?
Good question.
Good question.
I looked Dan's up.
Okay, what's Dan's?
Dan, his inner authority is sacral.
Sacral authority. Okay, beautiful. So what that looks like is there's a lot of different types of
I'm going to look mine up while you're doing that too. So
perfect.
I know.
There's a lot of different types of authority. And so what authority means in like regular human language and not in human design lingo is your decision-making strategy. And so for Dan specifically, if you're a generator or a manifesting generator, you're going to have one of two decision-making strategies, which are either emotional or sacral. So Dan has sacral. And so what that looks like is when you ask Dan a question of like, do you want to do this, this, or this? He's going to be like, I don't know.
Yep.
But if you ask him a yes or no question, like, do you want to X? You're going to get a or an
Ah, good tip.
This is like the meat and potatoes, people. So same with yourself though, right? So if you're watching this and you have sacral authority and you're like, okay, what do I want to do with my business during this pandemic? Do I want to like shut it down? Do I want to pause? Do I want to pivot? Do I want to grow? Do I want to offer this different service? Like, and you have like 82 different options. Your head is going to spin. You're going to look for an expert. Can you tell that I'm speaking from experience here? You're going to look for someone else.
I hear that.
To give you the answer. And you're going to be like, I don't know what the F to do.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go one by one and you get your grounded, your feet on the floor, and you ask yourself some questions to like reignite your gut, because sacral center is gut. It's like, oh, I knew I should have gone with my gut. When people say that, they likely have access to that sacral center.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you're like, okay, do I want to do this? Like, do I want to pivot and offer this service? Like if your whole body goes, like you can feel it expand. Like it feels a little bit different for everyone, but usually it's a body expansion. It's a gut feeling. It's like, yeah, this is correct for me. Or like a which is a constriction, like
yeah,
that doesn't feel good. That's your answer.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And you can say, okay, yeah, but like I'm going to have that feeling and then I'm going to think about it. Okay, but that's your mind. Like that's your 4% of your conscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
96%.
Trying to stop us from doing things.
Exactly. And you want to know why they stop you from doing things? Because your subconscious mind is like, oh, you're alive. We've been doing a pretty damn good job up until this point.
Danger.
Like, danger.
Change is danger.
Yeah. I don't care if you're not making any money. I don't care if you're broke and living on the street. Honestly, you're alive. Yep. It's working pretty well for you. So you're welcome.
Okay, mine says emotional solar plexus is what mine says.
Yeah. So about 50% of the population is emotional. It's emotional authority, and it's really riding those emotional waves of like giving yourself time, and there is no truth in the now. Meaning, like if you're like, I'm like, oh, hey, Nicole, do you want to like sign up for this thing? And in the moment, you might be like, hell yeah, that sounds amazing. And then you go to sleep. And you wake up in the morning, you're like, no.
Okay, I feel attacked right now.
Yeah. But isn't that so great to know about yourself?
At least I know I'm not just ridiculous then.
No. I've heard from a lot of people, they're like, oh, I thought I was just like bipolar. Nope, you just have feelings, which is totally normal.
That may come off as flaky, huh? That seems like I always feel like I'm being flaky when I change my mind about things.
Yeah. So what's so like empowering about having emotional authority is to be able to say, thanks so much for the offer or asking or whatever, or like, oh, this seems really interesting. Let me get back to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like instead of entering into it in the high, because it goes, it could be backwards, but emotional high of like, oh my gosh, I'm so in, like, this is the thing that I've been looking for. Like, I'm going to win the lottery by doing this thing that I want to do. And then goes the emotional low of like, everyone in my family is going to die if I do this.
Yep.
I'm exaggerating for the purpose of this exercise. Yes, and then it goes calm clarity of like emotional detachment. You know what? I think this is really the right next step for me. Or it doesn't feel right. Like I'm not going to do it right now, with no like big swing. It's like a wave. Like it goes and it breaks and then it's calm.
Dang.
So making decisions and entering in from the calm water makes you not flaky, right? Because you haven't committed to anything. You haven't committed in the high. You haven't not committed in the low. It's like, I'm just going to feel it out.
So these authorities, they're the decision-making strategy of your chart. So this is on everybody's chart. If you look up your chart, you'll find it. And it'll make more sense to you when you know yours specifically.
Yes.
So that's, I mean, hello.
Hello.
Like,
The
what
site
the
does a
heck?
terrible job of explaining it.
Yeah, of course.
So that's why we have wonderful people on Instagram explaining it to you. Programs like mine that explain it to you. Like, it's basically like, okay, here, let me decode this thing that you have no idea what you're looking at to give you the map to your body and your design so that you can actually use it for your business.
Dang. So is the authority the thing to look at the most if you're talking like business wise? Is that?
Yeah. So my, like, for everything, but especially business, like type, strategy, authority are the top three. So like, what's my type? How do I interact with other people? Like, am I in alignment or not? Like, look at those signposts. Strategies, which we haven't gone over, but I can do it briefly if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back up to
mine is to inform is my strategy.
It is to inform. So let's start with manifestors because you are one. So a manifestor strategy is to inform. And the reason that your strategy is to inform is because you're here to get things started. So when you're like going along and like starting a thing, chances are it probably affects other people in your life. Maybe your husband, maybe your children, maybe your clients, right? And so as a manifestor, a lot of people get super frustrated and annoyed that like other people don't get it.
Yes. Didn't we have this conversation? I feel like we just had this conversation literally right before we went live about me being frustrated that people didn't understand.
But like the question I would ask you then is, have you informed them? Have you told them early, often, like tell them more than you think you need to?
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm doing. This is how it impacts you. Here's how you can help me. Here's how you can buy. Here's how you like this, like inform early and often. And this doesn't mean necessarily like I'm informing you that I'm like selling you this thing. Like that's gross. But it does mean like tell people what you've got. Tell people how you can help them, like inform. And like also in relationships, like if you're like, I'm going to go for a walk and you don't tell anyone, like chances are your family's going to be like, where the hell did she go? Like just inform people. It's just,
I mean, you don't know my family. They wouldn't know I was gone until they wanted food or something. I don't know.
Okay, fair.
I'm just kidding.
But it's just like to think about it from that perspective because you don't realize that you're doing it necessarily when you're a manifestor.
Yeah.
You get really angry because people aren't helping you. It's like, okay, well, did you tell them how they could?
Oh, dang. I needed that, especially today. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm here for a reason. So, for projectors, the strategy is to wait for the invitation. And I go deep into this in my program, but for the sake of like, you as a projector know the answer. You're like, when people talk to you, you're like, okay, duh, well, why don't you just do that? And that would fix it. Like you're very wise. You're here for the other. But when you tell someone what to do without them asking you, you are just kind of like a know-it-all and annoying. And I know this because that's what I feel like I was for a very long time in my life.
Crazy. So you have to wait for people to ask your opinion is what you're saying? Is that what you're...
Yeah. Wow. And it's not for everything. It's just to lead them.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah. And part of that, it's a two-way street, right? Part of that is for your benefit because you have a limited amount of energy. Like I would recommend for projectors to work no more than 4 hours a day. And so if you're constantly doing things for other people that haven't actually asked you to do them for them, you're wasting all of your energy that you have a limited supply of doing all of that stuff. And then you're feeling really bitter because you're tired and you don't have any energy left because you did all those things, but did they actually ask you to? Like,
brain's exploding. Here it comes. That's crazy.
Yeah. This is like my, why do you do human design? Because I'm a projector and I found out and I was like, I need to know everything about this because this is the story of my life.
Yes.
And we really want to be recognized as projectors. So from a business perspective, showing up and getting visible so that you are recognized for what you do and you are invited to lead someone is like the ticket. So are you being recognized? Today, literally the post that came out on my Instagram is all like business building questions for projectors. So ask yourself some of those questions being like, where am I being recognized? And if it's not for my business, what kind of energy are you showing up for and with in ways that you're getting recognized? Like I have a couple of projector people that I know and love that get recognized all the time for their nails. And they're like, I love my nails. I talk about my nails all the time. I get really great manicures since COVID, I've done this with my nails, like all of this stuff, but they're not getting recognized for their business. Well, it's because they're talking about their nails, because they're passionate about their nails, because they're excited about their nails. Like, how can you incorporate that excitement about your business?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And then people are like, where'd you get your nails set? She's like, I don't want to talk about my nails. I want to talk about my business. I'm like, well, you're showing up differently, right? Like being genuinely excited so people recognize you and invite you.
Yeah.
So tangent. So
no, that's fine. It's you.
Back.
It's your thing. So
it is. I'm very excited about it. So for generators and manifesting generators, so generators are waiting to respond. And so for both projectors and generators, like wait to respond is not a passive thing. Like this is not something you sit in the corner and you wait for someone to invite you as a projector, or you wait to respond to something as a generator. It's as a generator, you get to light yourself up. And when you light yourself up, you become a magnet for opportunities to come your way that you then get to respond to. So for example, when you're sitting down to create content for your business, you don't sit down and be like, I must create 17 pieces of content today for the month, and it will be beautiful. Yeah. If you're a manifestor, that could probably become really easy for you. Just sit down, to initiate, to get the ball rolling, to inform. Cool. Yep. If you're a generator, it's like, what is going on in my life that I want to talk about? Or what podcast did I just listen to that honestly I really disagree with, and I'm going to respond to that in my post? Or what did I listen to that I super agree with and also think this, and then I'm going to respond with that? What opportunities are coming your way for people to be like, I know that you do this in your business, but really, could you possibly maybe do this? Respond to that. Like, it's all about response. And so when you're creating something, you can say, is this in response? And that's a great question.
I feel like if Dan was listening to this, he would feel attacked too.
It's I prefer to look at it as seen versus attacked.
Attacked/seen. Like, it's just to a T. It's just that this is what's insane to me. It's like it's until you see it written down and you understand it, it's like holy. Like, how is that even possible?
Yeah, it's like when I found human design, I was like, who read my diary? And then read back to me my diary.
Who's spying on me right now?
Exactly. Oh gosh. Okay. So then manifesting generators, your strategy is all around, like, it's waiting to respond, same as generators, but you can do that wait to respond and then inform afterwards, because you're a little bit of a combination of the two of them, right? So like what comes to you, because you're a magnet. So I've heard wait to respond also been described as magnetism being your strategy, which I really, really like that. So like basically doing what you love, lighting yourself up, you become a magnet for opportunities to come your way. And then you get to respond to them and say yes, depending on your authority. So it's a dance with all these different pieces in your chart, right? So we're building on top of each other. So that's why I say type first, then strategy, then authority, because you can leverage all of them to say what's correct for you. And I'll give you like a full example. And then you get to inform people like, okay, yes, I said yes to this thing. I'm moving forward with it. I'm going to inform you how you can help me. And then for reflectors, it's all about awaiting a lunar cycle. So 28 days, these beautiful souls take 28 days to make a decision. And also that's really how they get to move through life, is like discussing and feeling through it. They have all open centers, so they amplify everyone else's energy. And again, if you're a reflector, let me know. We can talk more.
So are these people like, what's the word, where they just absorb everyone's energy? I can't think of the word right now.
It's okay.
It'll come back
like
to me.
Like more so than
more mirror. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, like right, because they're taking it in and reflecting it back. So like if you meet a reflector and you don't like them, I hate to tell you,
it's because you're terrible.
Yeah, basically.
It's okay. You can say it. It's a safe place here.
It's a safe place. So, I mean, if this were all working correctly, right? If the world were working correctly for your human design type, for your energy, it would look like generators and manifesting generators doing the work that they love, that was initiated by a manifestor, led by a projector, and a reflector reflecting back how the process is going and being a part of that community.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool to hear it broken down like that.
It's all like this beautiful circle. So
I think if you look up your chart online too, it tells you, doesn't it tell you like what famous people are the
Yeah, it
design
does.
type too? That's a cool thing to look up if you're watching this and haven't checked your chart out yet. Definitely go and figure out what you are, because it is honestly. Oh, look, there you go.
Ask and you shall
Hey,
receive.
Bruce
Human-
Springsteen, let's do this.
Yes.
Einstein, Mozart, Dolly Parton. That's pretty cool.
I mean, think about it, right? So like projectors, these people are leaders, right?
Yeah.
They're leading other people's energy, like they're figureheads. They're like people who believed in something so deeply and were recognized and invited to lead. Generators, these are people that are masters of their craft. They've mastered a system. They are creative. They're recognized for that, right? They're doing the things that they love. Manifestors are here to get things started and have really big ideas. So like, I don't like to put this on slides because people get kind of offended by it, but like Hitler was a manifestor.
Yeah, I heard that. I've heard that actually. It's it's the idea, it's not the person. Don't worry about it.
Right. Like starting a movement because of something. He's like, I am visualizing this world and this is what I want and I'm going to go make it happen.
Yeah.
So it's that powerful. Manifesting generators, right? Like these people, it's like, okay, Gwyneth Paltrow is a perfect example. She has Goop. She's also an actress. She also does like other weird, like not weird. I love her. I love Goop. But I'm just saying like there's a whole bunch of different things. Like she also, I think, directs. Like it's a whole hodgepodge of activities that she's like super obsessed with, but like, don't put a label on me. I do all of these things.
Yeah.
And then reflectors are, reflections back at the community. So.
Dang. What's the hugging saint?
Everyone asks me this and I don't actually know. So
like,
I should probably take it off the slide. But there's a saint that's apparently a reflector. Cool.
That's cool. It's cool to kind of like, it's somebody that I mean, not that personally, obviously, but somebody that you're aware of and you can actually look up things they've done and kind of compare it to. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. And I've had a lot of people comment to me recently about people that they really like in the online space. And so I've been trying to figure out people's human design types based on like, for example, I know that Gary Vee is a projector.
Oh yeah.
So he's not actually the one doing the work. He's just like showing up and getting visible and getting recognized and invited to do stuff. And his team does all the work.
It's crazy because my husband has had that conversation with people before because they've said like, oh, well, I want to do a podcast, but I don't think I could do it every day like Gary Vee does. And he's like, dude, Gary Vee has like 70 people helping him every single day. Like he's got the ideas. He just has other people do them, So it's that conversation. And, he's not editing his podcast himself every day. Like, let's
hustle
be real.
Hilarious coming from a projector. Like it's like your team hustles. Like like your business can hustle.
It is because I don't like the word hustle. So
me neither.
When I hear that, I'm like, you're not hustling. Like you just said, you're not hustling. Your team's hustling.
your team's hustling.
Just walking around and doing what you normally do.
Exactly. So, okay, what was I talking about now? To inform, we talked about. Wait to respond. So we went through all of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What the strategies were. Yep. So the type is these words along the top. In your chart, you will see type and then one of them. And then the strategy is how you interact with others in the world around you. So whether that be wait for the invitation, wait to respond, to inform, to wait the 28 days. And then your decision-making strategy or your authority, which will be listed on there, is how you best make decisions. So for example, I like if we want to put all of that together. Mm-hmm. So for me, what this looks like is, okay, I know just based on those 3 pieces of information that I am a projector with self-projected authority, which means I need to talk out my decisions. And when I come to the correct answer for me, my voice shifts. Like energetically, I know it's right. Mm-hmm. If I think through them, I can't freaking come up with an answer. But if I talk it out,
that's cool.
It's very interesting. It also explains why I spent a lot of time in the guidance counselor's office in high school trying to pick a college, because I'm like talking endlessly and she's like, she's just going to pick the right one for her. So So I'm a projector with self-projected authority, and I know that my strategy is to wait for the invitation. So what does that look like in my business? Okay, well, I get to show up really excitedly on whatever platform that is that I want to choose. So for me, that's Instagram. I show up excitedly talking about the things that really light me up. I'm then recognized by my community for those things that really light me up and invited to share more or sell. So when I do sell those things, I get to take them through my authority, which is my decision-making strategy, and say, is that actually something that I want to offer? And so I'll talk it out, which is my authority, and I come to the correct conclusions. If it's a yes, I offer it. If it's a no, I don't. And then I move forward and I start over.
See, and that's so helpful to know too, like that this is like ingrained in you. You know, it's not something that you're kind of doing to yourself. It's there.
Yeah. And what's so interesting is like we always, so if you're watching this for the first time and you're finding out what your type is for the first time, and you find yourself thinking, oh my gosh, you know what? I really wish I were a manifestor. I really wish that I could be another type or have another strategy or have another authority or whatever that looks like. It's like you are literally perfectly designed for whatever you are here on earth to do.
Yeah.
So if you're not leveraging it, you're in resistance, and you're going to keep being in resistance because you're not doing what you're meant to be doing.
It's 100% worth it to find it. It's completely free to just look it up, and then you can hire Lauren to go through it with you. Like seriously,
inform them.
Do it.
Just inform them.
Do it. Okay, sorry.
No. I love that.
I'm telling everyone what to do now. See, I'm bossy. It's
You're a manifestor.
It's in my blood. That's so funny.
That's great.
So before we hop off, tell everybody how they can find you besides Instagram, what kind of stuff you offer. Obviously do you go through people's charts with them and like tell them, walk through with them, or what do you do?
Yeah. So there's a couple of different things. So first I have like a signature program. It's where I suggest everybody start, and it's called like Human Design for Business, or Business Aligned with Your Design. And so what we do in that program is I take you through each element of your chart. So I take you through your type, I take you through your strategy, I take you through your authority, I take you through your profile, which is how you best market. So like some people are meant to market to the masses, some people are meant to market to people that they know. So we go through that, your profile, and then we integrate it all together. And then I take you through each of your centers. So whether they're defined or undefined, where you get energy, where you're taking in energy, where you might be conditioned. I take you through each element of your chart. And so what the human design community does usually is they say, okay, you get a 1 hour reading. I'm going to tell you all about yourself. I'm going to like send you with a recording, and like, good luck. And I've had them done before, but it's extremely overwhelming. And then you like kind of forget about it. And it's this cool party trick that, that's like, I'm this type when someone asks you.
Yeah.
The next time we go to parties, which hopefully we'll do
never. No,
never again, on your Zoom parties. And so what my program does for Human Design for Business, it takes you through each element, and you get 1 week, with each element of your chart, and you get something to do, something to embody, or a way of like living your design, and then something to journal, meaning like, how do you get the answers from within? Because I don't have the answers, you do. That's the whole point of this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's the joy of my life. My fiance does not love when I say that, but it's true.
She doesn't need to know. You shouldn't have
so
even
that's my
told
signature
him.
offering. It's Human Design for Business, Business Aligned with Your Design. And then I also recently got certified in subconscious mind transformation techniques. And so what I've been able to do is marry human design with subconscious transformation, and I do deconditioning sessions. So if you're a little bit further along in your human design journey, and you're like, oh, I know my centers, I know where they're open, I know where I'm conditioned, like I want to shift some stuff. Like for example, most people with an open sacral center, so projectors, manifestors, reflectors, we all have this belief that our productivity is tied into our worth. Like the more that you do, the more that you make, right? So I'm going to take some subconscious transformation and basically shift that belief so you don't believe it anymore. I'm deconditioning your centers.
Yeah, I kind of need that because, well, I mean, honestly, like I literally said that to somebody probably about a month ago. So what was that, like 2 months into this? I don't even know what day it is. I don't know where I am.
I think it's May. It's gonna be May.
I think it's May. It's fine. We'll figure it out later. Um, he said we need you to unshare your screen so I can see your face. I want to talk to you face to face when I tell you that. No, I'm just kidding. I literally told somebody about a month ago that I had to, I mean, I did it myself. I didn't know that this was something that had to do with like who I am, but I felt in the beginning of this, because I had to shift, as you know, like I'm a photographer. My whole business is based on face-to-face interaction. So I had to completely shift my business model. And I was like, at the beginning of this, I have to be doing something. I have to be doing something. I have to be making money. I have to be doing this because that's all I know. And I realized about a month ago, okay, I'm literally tying my self-worth into how much I make and what I'm doing all the time. And I'm like, stop that. Like, stop it, Nicole. And I don't know how I came to the realization, but I wish I would have known about this, because I would have known earlier. I wouldn't have been torturing myself.
Yeah. It's so interesting because like where your patterns, like where you're open, you have patterns that play out because we're conditioned. So like, for example, like your heart, if you have your heart center, which is like the little triangle in your chart, if that's white for you, it's undefined or it's open, and that's, you're taking in conditioning there, and that's all around self-worth. And it's all around proving energy. And so a lot of the times, like when I first found that out about my business, is like everything in my business right now is to prove either to someone else or to myself that I can do this. Like I'm working way too hard. Like I'm not making as much as I know that I could be making. And so it's like, what would life look like if I let that go? If I didn't believe that, if I didn't feel the need to prove.
We all need that. We all need to decondition something.
Exactly. And so it's really neat because what we can do with those is like, okay, here's your chart, which is my map to like all your beliefs, all your conditioning, all of that, right? We have a conversation and we figure out which one's most prevalent in your business. And then we use subconscious transformation modalities to be like, okay, well, that doesn't exist anymore.
It's genius. Thanks. And we know you're all home right now. We know you're home. You have time to do this. Everybody has time to do this. You have nothing else. Home. We're all home here. That's awesome. So you offer that chart. Did you have a group too?
It's the group is more a part of my program. So when you join Human Design for Business, awesome. You get a Facebook group as part of that as well. A community and we do weekly Q&As. So it's like, instead of a reading, which is 1 hour, you get 5 weeks of Q&A with me and the group of people and business owners who are also going through this at the same time. So it's wonderful.
That's awesome. Fun. So we can find you on Instagram and your website is how you sign up for that. Is that?
I have a link through Instagram, and I also have my website, which is laurenarmstrongtraining.com. I actually have a training that's going live literally tonight that you can basically watch and figure out like, okay, kind of what we just covered today, but a little bit deeper into like the conscious and subconscious and how that all makes sense, that you can watch through the link in my bio. And then it will lead you to Human Design for Business. If you're like, oh my gosh, I need that, or what's my type, or I have 7 million questions, please DM me. It's my favorite thing to talk about.
Yes. And if you're watching this replay too, I know a couple people jumped in, but if you're watching the replay and you figured out your human design chart, feel free to comment below. Lauren's in the group, so she can comment and respond at any time.
Yes.
I'm informing you. I'm just letting you all know.
This is so fun. You're just going to basically like walk around your house today and be like, I'm informing you that.
I need to look up what my children are, because they don't take too well to be informed. Let's just say it that way.
Interesting. I'd be interested to know what they are.
They're not listeners.
So there's a fantastic resource on Instagram. Her name's The Conscious Parent. guide. Her name's Alex. She's amazing. And she basically breaks down, like, based on what you are and what your kids are, like how you can best parent each type.
That's what I need.
It's fantastic.
That is exactly what I need. Well,
she's great.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to be posting this video in the group if you're watching it again, or it's going to go on, and it's going to go on my YouTube. And I'll send you the link so you can share it if you'd like.
Sounds amazing. This is a very fun conversation. Thank you, my manifestor queen friend.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to get a shirt that says that now. I'm your
manifestors are royalty. Like,
I don't need you to stroke my ego. It's big enough. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It can't be big enough. Like, manifestors, we need you to, like, live in your power. You're a goddamn cheetah, as Glennon Doyle would say.
See, I'm not going to be ashamed now. Know who you are and live it.
Live it.
Honestly, look up your chart. Yeah. Please.
Don't just know it. Live it.
Seriously.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Mic drop.